Hi, it's Filo. Today we're going to set up June in my bullet journal, and this will be my last setup in this notebook. It's the iconic Scribbles That Matter, and I started it in October, so I was able to fit 9 months here, and I enjoyed every single page of it. I'll be setting up the second part of 2024 at the end of June in a new notebook, but for now, let's start with the cover. And this month I struggled to find a theme until I watched Rebel Unicorn Crafts tutorial on how to draw a whale. I link her channel down below. She makes a bunch of tutorials for beginners and especially cute animals. So first I did a sketch following her instructions, and basically you start with a V shape. Those lines will be the tail and the mouth line, and then you make her thick as a whale. I'm always so good at explaining, right? Anyway, make sure you add a few bumps on her snout, long flippers, a visible dorsal fin, and ventral pleats if, like me, you want it to look more like a humpback whale and less of a blue whale. For the background, I wanted to put a made-up map, but I already did a fantasy map theme in February last year, and here I wanted something simpler and quicker to doodle, because it's only the background, it's not the main focus. So I scribbled a few continents and islands, zero details this time. Then I'm coloring the whale in blue, and in spite of the hundreds of brush pens I have, I didn't find the grayish blue I wanted. Maybe the Tombow N52 would have been more accurate, but then I needed the summery vibe of this 526, and you'll see how it fits the whole theme in the next pages. Anyways, I went over it with the blue twice again to darken it, and it got so much better. And the paper is thick, it's 160 GSM, so it's fine. You'll see there's absolutely no ghosting or bleeding on the other side. And the map is beige because I love the combination of dark blue and beige, so it's like a very old map. I went around the whale and the islands a few times with the beige to make it look like the whale is in the foreground. And then I'm adding details with a warm grey to add some volume. For the header, I felt like writing June in calligraphy to match the grace of the whale and also balance the illustration, which is more vertical. And then a few bubbles here and there to make it look more interesting and dynamic. A teeny tiny touch of white for the reflection in the eye, and now you can see that I made the whale much darker. And finally I added a greyish blue washi tape and a beige one, but this one I ended up changing for a light pink to brighten it up. You'll see it right now. Next up is the monthly calendar, which is pretty satisfying this month as it starts on a weekend and ends on a Sunday. By the way, as always, I leave a monthly wallpaper for you in stories. After a humpback whale, we're switching to another kind of whale, and this is a narwhal. They also have a stocky body based on a V shape, but here the fins are smaller and they have this melon head and of course their very characteristic unicorn. That's called a tusk, by the way, and in reality it's a protruding tooth. And so while we're here, do you have any plans for June? As for me, in June I may be able to go for a long weekend to Costa Brava, the northeast coast of Spain. My niece is coming there and she shares my passion for bullet journaling, so fingers crossed. Oh, I also want to escape the heat we have here in Madrid. In fact, I had some issues while filming this video because it's already 30 degrees here, so 86 Fahrenheit I think it is, and my studio is in the attic, so it's too hot for me and my new phone. It stopped recording every half hour. It was a nightmare. I definitely need to film my next videos downstairs till the end of September. Usually people prefer the long days of summer to film because there's so much light, but I prefer the winter. I have to be quick, but I don't die. So, for the header I wrote June in calligraphy again, but bigger, and I'm not convinced with the result. Writing big headers in calligraphy with a thin brush is harder. But anyway, underneath I doodled a few fish. I think they're called angelfish, and very scribbly waves. For the coloring, narwhals have a kind of gradient from bluish gray to white in spots. So I just colored its back with the blue and then added spots on its belly. And when this first layer was dry, I went over it again to darken the blue. I wanted to keep the same color palette for the whole theme, so now the angelfish look a bit more like surgeonfish. Then for the other usual sections around the calendar, I did small old parchment, not maps because there I need to write. So there will be my goals, social media trackers, and the books I read in June, for a general overview of the month. Talking about books, in case you didn't know, I post a video every month setting up my reading journal and reviewing the books I read. So the next video I'll upload will be about the books I read in May, or at least finished in May. For the calendar, I'm switching colors on each row and using my stamps for the dates. After months of practice, I'm much faster now. So the tip is just to stamp all the ones and then all the twos and so on. And let's not forget the bubbles everywhere. I always like to have like my main doodle or main illustration on every page, and then I add some details like these bubbles or the little waves. Other times I use stars. It makes it more fun and it also helps to fill the gaps. And finally, a few strips of washi tape. Here again I changed the beige washi tape for a pink one, and that's it. The next spread we're setting up here is my habit tracker and meal planner. So I'm starting with a big calendar for my meal planner. here I always like to use my stamps for all the headers and especially the dates. So if you're new here, I have a special talent with stamps, especially at the end of a notebook. And this first one came out a bit blurry, but you know by now that I don't make a big deal of it. In fact, here's my tip. If a mini calendar comes out blurry but still usable, just squint or cross your eyes. See, it's fine. In May, I didn't go to the gym because I had anemia, so now I'm Iron Woman. I just need to go back to the gym this month and get back into the habit. I'm writing the header in calligraphy again, but this one came out better. And at the bottom, I'm adding kelp. So now we have a humpback whale and a narwhal, and at this point I think I got the idea, and it would be repetitive maybe to do a whole theme around only whales maybe. So I decided to widen my horizon and draw other sea animals, and here I took inspiration from BUJOBYFILO over on Instagram, who did spotted eagle rays. And as you can see, all these shapes are very basic. They have a kind of triangular snout, and then the whole body is like a half circle. Then you add a kind of C shape and the tail, and that's it. Then I'm drawing a map behind them and making up new continents and islands. To color the rays, I did my 3 layers of blue, and this time I didn't even wait for them to dry in between, because again, thick paper, no bleeding, plus it's more irregular, which looks a lot more organic and natural. For the spots, I started with my white Uniball, but it was dry because I didn't use it for a long time. So I ended up with my white Jelly Roll gel pen, and I love the white dots on the dark blue body. It's so simple and the effect is really nice. Though now they look a bit more frightening, but I still love them. And you see what I meant with the irregular blue for the body? Now it looks kind of cool with the white spots. I also really like the effect of the rays kind of floating over the map and swimming past. The last spread is the weekly, and I'm doing Dutch doors, so I start by cutting the next 3 pages. Here in this video, I'll set up only the first weekly, and as I did last month, I'll show you the remaining weeklies in shorts. On each side of this spread, I have my usual mini calendars for the current month and next month. I even managed to successfully stamp these calendars. Increíble. And the illustration here is a cute little seahorse with its map behind it. And we have another map on the left, so everything you see on the right and left columns will be visible from each week. Then we have my work tracker, and I know it looks weird, but it's just because Mondays and Wednesdays are a bit more intense. And on the right, I'm keeping a space for my summer organization, so dates where my family will be in Spain, my plans for the summer, things like that. For now, I have absolutely no clue what I will do this summer, but I will be very happy to read your plans in the comments. Now, before coloring the seahorse, I'm scribbling the rings to give it volume, and I will color them in a very light blue, and then everything else will be dark blue. So as I said before, I'll set up the 3 remaining weeklies in the course of the month, and I'll post them on Shorts. So if you have ideas for the next sea animal you want to see in the next weeklies, tell me in the comments. And if you want to recreate this theme, please tag me on Instagram. I always love sharing your creations. And it's time to flip through this Sea Animals bullet journal theme for June. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. If you've made it till the end, leave me this emoji and tell me what sea animal you want to see in my next weeklies. I'll see you soon in another one, and until then, enjoy planning!